I'm super excited to introduce our next kind of block of presenters, both of whom will be discussing parking constraints and different parking structures for universities. I will start by introducing Anna McLaughlin from the University of Maryland, who's going to talk about getting to Yes for Parking Cash Out program. So Anna, take it away.
Thank you, Corey. Hi, everyone. My name is Anna McLaughlin. I'm the Assistant Director for Sustainability at the University of Maryland's Department of Transportation. And like Corey said, I'm going to talk today about how to get to Yes and get approval to implement a parking cash out program. So first, I just want to give a quick look at the University of Maryland for some context. We are the flagship institution for the University System of Maryland, located just outside Washington, D.C. We employ about 10,000 faculty and staff and have an enrollment of about 40,000 undergraduate and graduate students. Our campus is located approximately 1 mile from the College Park Metro Station, a part of the Washington Metropolitan Area Transit Authority's rail system. It is co-located with a MARC train commuter rail station that connects Baltimore and regions of Maryland with Washington, D.C. We in the Department of Transportation here on campus operate the Shuttle bus system with about 30 fixed routes that carry 3.5 million passengers each year. We currently have about 17,805 parking spaces on campus. That number is a bit of a moving target right now, and I'm going to speak a little bit more about that in a second. We sell about 7,000 parking permits to faculty and staff each year, and just under 14,000 parking permits to students. So all this is just for context, right? So context of kind of where we are, and I wanted to add some additional context about two major motivating factors that have gotten us administrative approval to offer a parking cash out program to our university employees. So that first major motivating factor is a major construction boom on campus. And as a campus, we are so lucky to see the addition of a number of new facilities, from a new bioengineering building to research facilities, that are all amazing additions to campus that are going to bring great value to our students, our faculty, staff. But as you can guess, the preferred location for these new buildings is on surface parking lots. So over the course of approximately 3 years, from 2015 to 2018, we are losing over 3,000 parking spaces on campus. So you kind of see those numbers here. And in addition to stuff that isn't even on this list, it seems like on a daily basis, we're finding out about new construction projects. We have 2 new residence halls, a dining hall, and a new academic building that are also going to be built on surface lots that are not on this original list. So while this is a headache for colleagues in my department who manage parking, it really is an opportunity for our TDM program. But the other motivating factor is the university's climate action plan. So we as a university have committed to be carbon neutral by the year 2050. So we work very closely with the university's Department Office of Sustainability about how to implement strategies to get to that carbon neutral goal. The purple on this graph here represents emissions associated with commuting to and from campus. And we have seen decline in the area, and we're going in the right direction, but we still have quite a bit of work to do. So in the context of a significant parking loss and our commitment to carbon neutrality, what do? We began, as a department working in 2016 to rebrand our existing TDM program and bring all of our sustainable transportation programs and our incentives under the umbrella of UMD Smart Commute, with the goal of providing faculty, staff, students, and visitors with all their options and incentives to encourage the use of sustainable transportation. Our goal is to really reduce the number of single occupancy vehicles coming to and parking on campus. We have a number of existing programs and incentives that I'm sure all of you are very familiar with, things that you would expect: transit benefits, carpool discounts. We participate in a regional guaranteed ride home program. But how do we go beyond these and really make an impact to reduce the number of single occupancy vehicles on campus? We all know that money talks. In fact, Travis, with his Tomsportation presentation earlier, I'm going to quote him, "Money talks, y'all." And we know that money really is an important motivating factor. So first thing we looked at is our pricing structure for parking fees. If we know that if we make parking more expensive, less people will use it. And again, for some more context, an annual parking permit for commuter students on campus for a year is $293. For a resident student, it's $567. So those are their annual parking fees. For a faculty or staff member, an annual permit ranges from $427 to $853, and that depends on their salary. We have a 5-tier parking rate that is salary-based. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of control over our parking fees. Parking fees are tied into our university's union contracts, and as a department, we have very little control over how much we can raise them. So simply raising parking or restructuring the parking structure away from an annual permit was not possible for us. So instead, my team proposed adding a parking cash out to the list of Smart Commute incentives that we offer. My director politely laughed at me. Can you imagine the flack that we would get as a department if we offered to give people money, to use the parking fees that we collect to just give them back to people? I pay for parking and you're giving it away to my coworker. Craziness. So we looked at the math. We are soon going to be in a situation where we simply cannot accommodate all of the parking needs on campus and need to build a parking garage. So looking at this chart here, our little tables, say we build a 900 space parking garage to net us 750 new parking spaces, because we'd build it on a surface lot, of course, so we wouldn't get the full net. At $30,000 a parking space with maintenance and security, over 20 years, we'd pay $36 million. Or, thinking crazy here, what if we paid people not to park? If we gave those 750 people $500 a year and factor in the lost parking revenue, we as a department are what we call a self-support. So we do not receive general funds from the university. All of our funds come from parking fees. So we would have to account for that lost parking revenue. So accounting for that and the cost, the outright $500, over 20 years, that same time period, it would cost us $15 million. With a grand savings of $21 million, which is a significant amount of money. And it's really this slide right here that was kind of prettied up, and PowerPoints were given to administration on campus. But this is really the compelling argument that convinced my boss, my director, that this is something that we should look into. It resonated with his boss and with our vice president, that ultimately gave us the approval to move forward with implementing this parking cash out, because money really does talk. But I am not made of money, and I don't have millions of dollars laying around in my TDM budget. So we are going to launch a pilot program. We're going to launch it as a pilot and limit it to the first 100 employees that sign up. We have identified $100,000 for the parking cash out and for the lost parking revenue, because that's going to have to be made up as well. So combined, that would be $100,000. The program is only going to be eligible to employees with active parking permits who are willing to give up their parking permit for a year. We're going to do quite a bit of hand-holding with it. So the whole program will involve a lot of one-on-one conversations with the employees to make sure they're set up for success, that it's not just send them the money and be done with it, but really talk to them, figure out how they're going to make their commute when they're not driving. We're going to give them a M-Bike membership, which is our bike share program on campus. We're going to give them a bundle pack of 10 daily parking permits just as a little bit of insurance. And so they can rest assured that if there were an emergency or they had to drive for a late night event or something, they would be able to drive. Making sure that they're all registered and guaranteed ride home. And they would also have to log their trips in our Smart Commute platform. So we want to be able to get the data out of this and make sure that they are logging their trips and doing what they're supposed to be doing. Big question that we got from everybody was, how are you going to enforce it, and what are you going to do if they want to buy a parking permit? If they do decide, if participants decide before the year's up that they want their parking permit back, the $500 incentive will have to be repaid, and it will be added into the cost of their parking permit. So if they were to come back in and say, it's not working, I want my permit back, their permit would cost $500 extra. Excuse me. We are currently getting all of our administrative ducks in a row and working with the comptroller and payroll to identify the process to give out this money. Something that we have not done before. Legal is involved. Honestly, there's a little bit of we didn't know what we were getting into with various players involved across campus. We've had conversations with departments that I didn't even know existed. So it has not been a simple process, but we are making headway, even though it's taking a little bit longer than anticipated. So the rest of the spring semester, we are making sure that we have everything set and all of our administrative processes broken down and in place, as well as developing our marketing plan to do outreach and launch the program this summer. I'm hopeful that I can come back next year and tell you all about how successful this was, and that we have moved from a pilot program into an existing program that we continue to offer. So that's kind of where we are. Again, we're looking forward to getting this launched and up and running. And that's what I have prepared for today, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Great. Well, and we have several questions. I don't know if we'll have time to get to all of them, but your topic has definitely sparked a lot of interest, and so that's really exciting. The first question that I wanted to share is, what will you be looking for to transition from a pilot program to your full-scale rollout? Like, are there performance markers? Are there particular things that you're going to be looking for to prepare for that transition?
Right. We are going to, so part of it is it going to really resonate? And are we going to have 100 employees that are going to sign up? Is it fully subscribed? Do we spend all the budget on that? And do they stay subscribed to the program for the entire year? Like, if we really, at the end of this year, and we have 100 people that gave up their permit and didn't drive once to campus, for us, that is extremely successful.
Nice. And so the next question kind of ties into that. Let me find the right one because I've got so many here. How do you handle folks who already don't drive? This is from Carl Larson, and so Carl is saying we get a lot of flack from folks who already don't drive for tying incentives to turning in their parking permits. So any feedback that you've gotten on that thus far?
I feel you, Carl. I feel you. We get that same flack, and we definitely, so one of the things that we are doing, and we're using the Ride Amigos platform to continually have points programs and challenges for the other modes as well that are kind of operating in conjunction with the parking cash out. So while I'm sorry, I know you take transit every day and we appreciate what you do. You're not going to be eligible for this, but you are eligible, to track your transit trips. And at the end of that, you can redeem your points for different prizes or be entered into a raffle. So as we're doing the parking cash out and focusing solely on the existing parkers, we're very aware of continuing our outreach, support, and kudos to the people that are already taking transit and biking and walking and carpooling and all of that.
So for our last question, I'm going to combine a couple of different questions here, and so hopefully I catch the gist of all of them. But the question is basically, how are you choosing who to participate, who will participate in both in this initial pilot, but then also in the full program, particularly if you get to a point where you have more interest than you have available slots?
Yeah, so one of the great assets we have at the university is departments on campus all have a transportation coordinator. So every department on campus has identified someone on campus that someone in their department that works with us. So we have an avenue of getting information to faculty, staff. So really kind of our marketing push is going to be making people aware of it, explaining the program, how it's going to work. And then it's really, I think we're going to do there are some qualifications, right? You have to be a full-time faculty staff. You have to have the existing parking permit. And then we will open it probably, what we're thinking right now is what will happen is that it will be open on a specific date and time. And we will just start a list, and it really will be first come, first served.
I had to unmute myself there. Sorry. Thank you so much. Obviously, it's a topic that has generated a lot of interest. We've got tons of questions coming in. Again, we're going to save all of these questions, and we'll try to answer some of these after the program. But thanks again so much for joining us. It's been great to have you on the line, and we look forward to seeing Maryland's success with this program.
Thanks. Bye-bye.